Said I made up my mind this time. I'm taking it over. Modest tranquility. Said I made up my mind this time. I'm taking it over.
Have you ever looked at the moon and felt like it was looking back at you? Not just watching, but revealing. Because what if the moon isn't just a rock in the sky? What if it's a lens that reflects everything inside you? Your emotions, your thoughts, your energy. Not creating it, just exposing it. And when that light hits, you feel it. Restlessness, tension, intensity. That's not the moon controlling you. That's you being revealed. Because when your energy is eclipsed, you don't disappear. You fragment. Scattered thoughts, unfocused energy, emotions you can't explain. That's the eclipse. Not outside. Inside. But then the full moon rises. And everything hidden comes to the surface. Amplified. Louder, heavier, harder to ignore. And most people react. They lash out. They lose control. They get pulled by the wave. But emotional intelligence, there's something different. It observes. It doesn't run. It doesn't react. It sees. Because the moment you see it, you can control it. So you center yourself, you breathe, you slow down, you come back to you. Because your energy was never out there. It was always here, inside you. So you stop outsourcing it. No validation, no permission, just source, your source. And when you tap into that, everything changes. Now the energy moves, you create, you build, you express, you flow. Because energy that flows transforms, but energy that's blocked explodes. So you stay aware of your cycles, your emotions, your patterns. You adjust the lens over and over and over again, until one day you realize something: the moon never controlled you. It never held your power. It only showed you what was already there. So don't fear the light. Don't fear the intensity. That's not weakness. That's exposure. That's truth. That's your energy trying to break free. So observe it. Center it. Draw from yourself and let it flow. Because your power was never missing. It was only eclipsed.
Faced the beast, I felt its claws, I've seen its feast. It whispers lies, it feeds on fear, but I stand strong, the path is clear. The shadows crawl, the weak may fall, deception spreads to break every chain. Truth is our weapon, fury our flame. The world may tremble, the night may scream, but we are stronger than what we've seen. I've beaten the base, I face the night. Now who stands with me to claim the fight? No more lies, no more deceit. We rise as one, our hearts won't retreat.
No.
The beast may roar, it may claw, it may bite, it prowls the dark, it shuns the light. But we are fire, we are steel, we take our fate, we will not kneel. Eyes open wide, hearts burning bright, we move as one through endless night. The lies may try to pull us down, but we are kings and queens uncrowned. Rise from the ashes, break every chain. Truth is our weapon, fury our flame. The world may tremble, the night may scream, but we are stronger than what we've seen. I've beaten the base, I face the night. Now who stands with me to claim the fight? No more lies, no more deceit. We rise as one, our hearts won't retreat. Step forward, brother, sister, stand tall. Hear the call that shatters the wall. The beast will fall, its reign will end. We are the truth, we will defend. Shout it loud, let the mountains shake. We are the storm, we are awake. From the ashes, from the pain, we rise again, we rise again. I've beaten the base, I've faced the night. Now who stands with me to claim the fight? No more lies, no more deceit. We rise as one, our hearts won't retreat. I know the beast, I face the beast, but we are many, our strength unleashed. Now step into the light, stand and see who will rise, who will rise with me. You were never lacking. You were never broken. The lie was separation. They told you you were less.
gain. You accepted limitation. The fruit was not power. It was perception fraction. You were already gods. Before the fraction, before the cost.
No shades, no throne to climb above.
You were
Already God.
You were already whole. No missing piece, no distant goal.
The lie was written in your doubt.
Now tear it. Remember. Return. You were already.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Well, I hope that you all have had enough. I have a feeling that most of you have. Welcome to the D program. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. Great to see so many of you out there tonight. Family Plan says hit that like button. Let's do that, please. Hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Please share this. This will help us get through the algorithms that aren't good to us. We're getting more and more views. I get up to about 50,000, 300, 350, and then they start trimming it down. I don't get it, but hey, why gripe and moan about something that's probably not going to change, right? It's probably not going to change. So I see Genetically Modified's in. We've got something from her tonight. We've got stuff from Dagger. We've got stuff from Charles. We got stuff from Randall, I think. Bagel Hate 555 is watching on Goyim TV. Great to see you there. Once I get back from my trip, I'll be rolling out a regular D program on Goyim. It'll be a once weekly Goyim exclusive. Jimmy Vox is saying no to David Wilcock. We got a lot to cover tonight. We're talking about Trump is the rider on the white horse. I believe I've got proof that Trump is the rider on the white horse. Is that the first white horse or the second white horse? Well, we'll talk about that. And we're going to get into the secret symbols of the dollar bill. That'll be part one of that. We will be moving more deeply into the secrets and the symbols on the dollar bill, starting with our next D program, which probably won't happen on Sunday because I'll be traveling. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. And I think not real surprising.
I'm excited to be here. Every day that I have on earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary. I got to say, it's a little bit scary, but you guys knew that I might still show up even though it was last minute and I've had a really rough week. That's kind of like every week, but somehow we keep on making it through all of this.
So that came from David Wilcock's last live broadcast. That came from his last live broadcast. I think it was a couple of days ago. And as David was talking, and, I was not the biggest fan of David Wilcock. I don't think that'll surprise anyone. But we do want to say rest in peace to David Wilcock. We don't want to celebrate a man's death unless he was a total... I have done it in the past, and I don't regret any of the people I've said it about, but it is too bad about David Wilcock. It really is. And you see here that by my reckoning, and, I'm not really into this stuff, so I don't, Cynthia gives me the count of these scientists that have died. And I think if you include Wilcock in this, Kerry Cassidy's assertion that he faked his death in association with the SSP, notwithstanding. But to my count, David Wilcock makes 13 of these people that have been unalived due to, let's say, dubious circumstances. Masonic Brothers says genetically modified, and Blue showed up to escort him to his bunker. Maybe it's possible it's a sketch. Sassafras, good to see you. Cynthia is at a event for her granddaughter, so hopefully she'll be joining us a little bit later. We'll see how that goes, but hopefully she'll be joining us a little bit later. And we're going to, NASA is now joining in on this search and this investigation about these missing scientists. I find that a little weird, but NASA is now joining in the federal investigation into the mysterious deaths of top scientists, and they're suggesting that they might have been targeted for their work. I don't know, but hey, the family of David Wilcock, let's be decent about it, and let's send out our best wishes to the family. I don't, want to cast aspersions on someone that, at least had some decent stuff. So we'll see what's going on with that. We will see what's going on with that. Check this out. Come on, where's my video? Here it is. It's coming. We might have some bandwidth issues again. Well, these bandwidth issues just want to mess with me. But what this one is, it's supposed to be a video of a morphing between the face of J.D. Vance and the face of Erica Kirk. And they're suggesting that they might be like brother and sister or something like that. And if they are brother and sister, the fact that they're morphing like this isn't even the weird part. The weird part would be that the hands through the hair and the obvious erotic energy between the two of them. I hope not all these are going to do this to me.
Snake charmers always carry a vial of their urine with them because if they're bitten, the urine neutralizes the venom. Urine is actually highly filtered blood plasma. It has over 2,600 enzymes, nutrients, and hormones that are bioidentical to your own body. A small vial of your own urine contains about 160 stem cells, but if you leave it to age for 21 days, that number increases to the hundreds of millions of stem cells, and you can now use it as a topical medication.
So I just want to rest my case again. If you've been following this at all, you know that a lot of the mentally challenged folks, especially over on Goyim, they couldn't find anything wrong with my information. So they went after me over my past embracing and enthusiasm of urine therapy. And, Dagger did it too. He's a big brain guy. And there's a reason for urine therapy. And that gave you a really good idea about it. And I didn't stop doing it because of the mentally challenged folks that were yelling at me, but I stopped doing it because I went keto. And when you're keto, your urine is no longer just excess. Your urine is pretty much waste. So for all of you non-sophisticants, I rest my case yet again. They use urine in just about every cosmetic. So, if you're talking about cosmetics, if you use cosmetics, well, you are putting urine on your face, and you ought to just go straight to the source if you want to use it for that. But if you're keto, if you're carnivore, I would caution you because your urine becomes mainly waste, but it is not efficacious any longer, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on YouTube, but that's just my suggestion to you.
The adults are abducted, and men are connected to machines in which semen is removed. And that kind of semen is then mixed with their own DNA, and that's put inside of a woman who's abducted. So if you're a female who's abducted, then you get impregnated. And so people go to their doctor and they say, like, what's going on? The doctor says, congratulations, you're pregnant. And the woman's like, but I haven't even had relations. I'm not interested in getting pregnant.
Sounds
I
familiar.
don't even have a man in my life. And the doctor is like, well, you're pregnant. What are you talking about?
Ma'am, you're lying.
Yeah, ma'am, you're lying. Exactly, right? So then in the first trimester, the woman is abducted again, and the fetus is removed. And that's when women go to the doctor, and the doctor is like, oh, you had a miscarriage.
Hmm.
And she's like, well, I know if I had a miscarriage. And they're usually diagnosed with this thing that pseudocyosis. It kind of says that, look, you want to get pregnant so bad, you wanted it so bad, that your hormones indicated that. So we got a false test results. And the woman's like pulling her hair out. It's like, I had no intention of. So that's one aspect, is that humans are used as a reproductive system that mixes their DNA and ours.
When you say their DNA, what do you mean by they? Like
the aliens.
The aliens.
Yes.
So it's not that they're mixing human DNA with human DNA. You're talking about alien DNA being mixed with human DNA
to create hybrids.
For these abductions. Okay, gotcha.
The fetus is removed, and they're put inside of these glass.
So this brings me to the Bible story, because if you read it in the literal translation, many scholars have concluded that Mary was actually artificially inseminated. That's putting a nice term on what it probably really was, which was an extraterrestrial rape. And if Rabbi Laitman is correct, and the Proto-Abrahamics did come from someplace other than this universe. Of course, Hebrew means people from the other side. It means people from beyond. People want to say that means the Jordan, but that's called reading into the text. It just says they're from beyond. So, Mary, Bible story, them putting DNA into and making, yeah, it just kind of goes in to. Whoops, I just realized I wasn't there. This makes me think about the Bible story because Mary, if you read the literal translation of the if you read the literal translation of the New Testament on the Mary impregnation scene, it sounds an awful lot like what they're talking about here. Most scholars that are objective will conclude that it was basically an extraterrestrial rape. And when you talk about seeding DNA, of course, Rabbi Laitman saying that the Proto-Abrahamics came from another galaxy, they came through a portal. Well, that kind of makes it sound like this. And I don't know what you hear on this, but boy, I wonder, is there something about Mary?
Death could not hold you. The veil tore before you. You silenced the ghost of sin and grave. The heavens are roaring. The praise of your glory. For you are raised to life again. You have no rival. You have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom. Yours is the glory.
So this makes me think about, hey, let's go ahead and practice and prep for that coming false flag invasion, broadcasting Jesus up on the sky. Just makes me kind of wonder about that. Just makes me kind of think about that. I think about blue beams and things like that. Not blue chickens, but blue beams. So are they kind of practicing? Are they kind of prepping for that coming false flag operation? It's just a question. So, in honor of sort of David Wilcock, I want to start a new segment tonight. We're going to do this on every deprogram where we have data for it. Nice to see you too. Scorch, nice to see you. So, I want to start talking about UFO updates because we are starting to see them. I think most of you know who I think they are, and it gives me great hope. It gives me great inspiration, and it is a lot of explanation for why they're saying that they're all demons and all of that. So let's do a little UFO updating. Let's watch the skies. And I actually pulled this off the NASA website. It says watch the skies. So where are all these meteors and these fireballs coming from? I mean, even Ben, what's Ben's last name? Ben from Suspicious Observers, Ben David's son. Ben is even saying that these aren't meteors. And I mean, he even went out and said that these could be breakup of craft or breakup of some object passing through. And that gets into Hercolubus and Planet X and all that. But where are all these meteors? All these, and they're not meteors. Ben is right about that. Where are all these fireballs coming from? Even the NASA experts, even the media experts, which I don't claim to be one, they cannot explain it. And they're coming from all over the place. KXAN, which I think is from Texas, reported about fireballs over the United States, multiple fireballs lighting up the skies. No, that one wasn't Texas. This one from Cron was Texas, a fireball exploding over Texas. They're appearing all over the United States. That could be connected to, and let me go out on a limb here. It's my deprogram. If I want to act crazy, I can. What if there's a battle going on in the heavenlies, not really of the biblical sort, but kind of sort of? What if there is a battle between space forces and craft are being destroyed And that's kind of what we're seeing. What about that? Now, Coast to Coast reports this in Argentina. They call it a puzzling of trio of lights. But as I remember the Washington visitation back in, what was it, 54, 55, 56, something like that, where a squadron of these in this particular shape came across the White House. That just happens to be a classic World War II German attack formation. You'll have to read between the lines. But what if? And this one could also be, to be completely objective, this could also be one of the triangle craft that probably is not extraterrestrial in origin. Or it could be, it could be that classic German squadron. So what do you think about that?
Okay guys, we have a piece of footage to take a look at of what seems to be a cigar-shaped UFO. So guys, let's take a look at the footage and then we'll have a quick chat afterwards.
I'm not so sure that's not a disc, but with the light glinting off of it. But we can go with cigar shape because that fits right into my ideas anyway. It's not kind of like that. That's obviously not normal. That's obviously not like, I guess, what we would say terrestrial. That's pretty unusual right there.
Okay, y'all. So I just got off a plane. I flew from Fort Worth to Nashville. It was me and one of my managers, Bobby. And we just had the craziest orb UFO experience. He saw it with me. This is not the first time I've seen many crazy things. I mean, literally, keep looking up. I've seen fire burning in the sky, things that I can't explain. So yeah, this is not the first time, but we just watched these orbs. There was 3 of them. I noticed them. I'm a noticer. I'm always noticing things, but I was about to lay down and take a nap, and I saw these lights that caught my eye that just didn't look normal. And I watched them for a minute, and they were definitely like...
This apparently is a country music star, babe. I don't know who she is. I'm not really into country music. But again, with the 3 lights, again, with the, we can assume triangular formation, classic World War II German. And also this goes into the idea of the, what they call those things? Foo Fighters, which were basically drones that would go out and scout before the World War II German bombers and fighters came out. They'd actually go scout the American bombers and possibly relay telemetry back, right? Relay telemetry back. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff going on. And here's one I find very interesting. This says that a webcam films a sizable mystery creature, also from Coast to Coast AM. How do they know that's a mystery creature? Could that not be a submarine? And that's water, not sky. Could that not be a submarine? We're also, many naval people will tell you that they see many UFOs that come out of the water, go into the water. So I'm not convinced it's a creature. It doesn't move in a creature type of movement. It moves to me almost as if it were some type of craft. But hey, I'm just some crazy guy on YouTube. What do I know, right? One more.
Okay guys, we've got a really crazy story of this American airline pilot calling into air traffic control that she has just sighted this flying saucer that flew over her plane. Here guys, let's take a listen.
It was some sort sort of like flying disc that just went over us at about 1,300 feet.
Is it a flying disc?
Yeah, I'm not really certain what it was.
Roger, I'm not seeing any targets on the scope, but I'll let everyone inbound know, thanks.
And Tower American 3013, ILS 27 right.
American 3013, Fleet Tower 1320 at 9er, right 27 right. Clear to land, use cost previous arrival reported a flying disc at 1,300 feet. They said it flew over.
Okay, clear to land, and we'll be watching American 3013.
American 1837, high speed, kilo spot 6, contact ramp. Do you have any more specifics about that disc, just for some reports?
So they saw a flying disc. They saw a flying disc. Wow. These are exciting times to be alive. These are exciting
I ran across
times.
this photo. Online sources are claiming that NASA released this photo to prove that the Earth is not flat. However, is surrounded by an ice wall that leads to the actual Earth.
Do you remember we reported on the last D program that there was a submarine that went under the ice in Antarctica, found some strange stuff, and they lost contact with it. They're going to send another one down. So that's exactly what this looks like, right? You know, we're not going to approach the flat Earth part of it, but I mean, they're saying that there's an entrance to some sort of underground installation. How about that, folks? And then Dagger, in reference to my father being the yeoman on the USS Henderson, which was a part of the Operation, what was it called? Operation High Jump. And Cynthia's father was the yeoman to Admiral Byrd himself on board the aircraft carrier. And I asked my dad, I wasn't who I was back then. I asked my dad finally, right before he died, if he could tell me about Operation High Jump and what he saw. And he says, "Oh, Jeff, I'd love to. It's almost right there, but I can't grab it." He was suffering from Alzheimer's, so he wasn't able to grasp the knowledge. But Dagger says, what if your dad was seated with dementia so that he couldn't remember what actually happened? And it would be very interesting. Oh, it's absolutely still there, Jay Bing. Bigger and better than ever, in my not so humble opinion. But it would be interesting to see how many men, and just men then associated with that operation, came down with dementia. And by the way, this is a graph of the cumulative UFO sightings in U.S. history, and they just happen to have exploded about 1945. You historians will catch the significance of that one. And oh, by the way, when we're talking about the cigar-shaped craft, this was basically something that the World War II German, actually the Kriegsmarine, launched in cooperation with the Luftwaffe. This is essentially a aerial craft carrier, and those discs would disembark from the cigar craft, which is kind of what we would have to call a aircraft carrier, a mother ship. So just ignore the troll in the chat, or feel free to just abuse the hell out of him. When I get around to it, I'll block the guy, but let's just have some fun. And you got to remember, these people, they come in so strong because they have, he says he's the rider on the white horse, because they have some issues in their personal lives, and we really should have some empathy for them. So we understand, bro, but we will definitely take you out if you don't calm down just a little bit. So just some interesting information there. And I'm going to start a new segment again tonight, and we'll be doing this on probably all of our D programs. And you remember our Create Yourself D programs. And I realized, why in the world do we need to go and do these, D programs separately every single time? I don't really think that we need to. I can just, lay them in to the regular deep programs as segments. And I think that's going to be really good for us. I'm looking forward to that. And that's going to be nice. And we're going to start that tonight. We're going to start this deep program. And give me just 1 second to see if I can get rid of this weirdo over here. We tried to be nice to him, but we're just going to go ahead. Thank you very much. But I'm just going to go ahead and hide him on the channel. So sorry, bro, but you were being a really, really bad. I think what we'll do from now on is we'll just go ahead and let these ding dongs run in the chat, and we can just deal with them later. We'll just deal with them later. And now I can't share my screen. Well, anyway, let's see if I'm even on right now. Let's go ahead and share this. Hopefully the share will come back. Maybe not. Maybe not. Well, here we go. So we're going to come tonight from Chase Hughes. I've become a big devotee of his work. And we're talking about Chase Hughes and what's called NCI, which is Neurocognitive Institute. And Chase Hughes put out a fantastic show the other day that said you're living inside a prediction, or at least that's when I found it. And Chase Hughes basically says here that he explains how our brain uses identical neural networks to predict the future the same way it does to remember the past. And this process is what really shapes your identity and your behavior based on an internal forecast rather than external reality. So you really do create yourself. And this material wasn't designed for the unsophisticated. This is designed for people that kind of get it. They understand what's going on in this world, and they're not just seeking surface level change. There's 3 things to understand about your brain. Your brain is just a prediction machine. It's just a prediction machine. Almost everything you experience, whether it's your emotions, your reactions, all of your decisions, what you decide to do, they all get filtered through whatever your brain expects to happen next. And your brain, your sense of identity is not a truth. It's just a forecast. It's just a forecast. And your brain does not experience time the way that clocks measure it. That's pretty fascinating, isn't it? So there's 3 facts that explain what this is. And this is the reason that there's very little change in most people after about 25 years of age, which makes it really important for us to make sure that we focus as much as we can on the young generation, right? And my numbers are not great with the young generation, but we're doing what we can. But this really is who you are now. And from that moment, about 25 years, once you buy into a certain frame, your nervous system just acts like a bouncer. This makes me think of dogmatic religions. It's our way or the highway, turn or burn. That's what it makes me think about. But your nervous system, once you adopt a frame, your nervous system acts like a bouncer, a bouncer. So it only lets in the thoughts, the behaviors, and the opportunities that match the frame that you accepted. Everything else gets filtered out. And the brain uses the same exact neural networks to predict your future as it does to remember your past. That to me is fascinating. Neurologically speaking, your future is treated like a memory that you haven't had yet. This is why your expectations will change your behavior. And if your expectation is you're going to go to heaven and play on a cloud. If your expectation is you were really bad, you're going to go to hell. Well, you're probably going to wind up in what I call a soul farm with something that measures up to your expectation, but you're still being used. The brain is not seeing the future. The brain is predicting it. It's exactly like programming, Jay Bing. And your brain, according to the frame you've accepted, which is your way to believe the world. And if you're in your own frame, that's great. But if you're not, if you're in some frame that somebody put on you, well, all of your behavior is going to be shaped to match those predictions. And it's interesting to me because predictions are prophecy, right? So every version of you is already a potential neural pattern. So if we look at identity as a forecast and the brain is choosing between behaviors on that forecast, then we can change our future. You don't have just one future. You have millions of plausible and probably billions of possible futures. We talked about this in the last D program. You can find it on this channel, the one that was called Quantum Immortality. Nothing in the universe changes, just what your brain decides to select. And you can notice different opportunities. And most of all, you can interpret events differently. Your future's not fixed. Even if you have entered into a spiritual contract, you can break it. We saw the other day that, or is that coming up today, that you can't really sell your soul. They just make you think you sell your soul. So your future is a spread of possibilities. It's a distribution of potential paths. And my message to you is that you get to choose which path that is. What makes your final trajectory become real? Number one, it's conditions. Number two, it's the forces that act on it. Particles and people don't choose a best path. If you observe a particle, scientifically speaking, it doesn't have a predetermined path. It goes where it chooses to go. So if you adopt a new identity, if you decide to create yourself, then you'll collapse a spread of futures into a new trajectory. That's not a metaphor. That's behavioral science. And different identities will select different actions. So if you want to change your life, just take different actions. That'll create different opportunities, and you'll be able to choose your outcome. And here's something to take away from this. When you imagine something vividly, circuits in your brain do not have the ability to distinguish between what's real and what you visually and vividly simulate. They just respond to the patterns. So create a remarkable future. I'm with you, Rick Godley. And it's up to you and it's up to me. Our nervous system, if it encounters some coherent image, it updates rapidly. It doesn't take 5 months, 5 years, 5 decades. You can create yourself in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And you can stop making the familiar choices that other people have told you to make. The ones that somebody else framed into you. And the moment that your sovereignty and freedom gets shifted from external to internal, guess what? Now you're in charge. And then everything downstream will automatically shift. New opportunities start opening up to you when you get outside of the frame that somebody else created for you. And this is not some mantra. Well, it is a mantra, create yourself, but it's reality. And if you want to learn more about Chase Hughes and NCI, you can just look this up on YouTube. You're living inside a projection. You'll get his channel. And folks, this is something that can change your life. It can change your world. Are you living at cost?
Most people don't know who they are. They really don't.
What do you mean? I mean, I know my name, I know my age, I know where I live.
Yeah, that's not you, though. If you ask the average person who they are, they'll give you their name. They'll say, I'm Bob Proctor, but I'm not. Bob and Proctor are 2 words. My parents give them to me. They're called names, but it's not me. It's my name. Then somebody will say, well, this is me, but this isn't me either. It's my body. Like, you never phone down here to the studio and say, body won't be in today. It's sick.
Okay.
You know, we don't say M hand or M leg. It's my hand, my leg, my body, my name. Who am I? Well, that's an interesting question. And I believe if a person will start to study that, and look for the answer, they'll find it. See, I think we live simultaneously on 3 planes of understanding. We're spiritual creatures, we have an intellect, and we live in physical bodies.
Okay.
But because we lack awareness or understanding of who we are, we're totally locked into a physical world, and we let things outside of us control us. 95% of the population are reacting to life. They're not really living at all.
So that's why I ask you, are you living at cause or are you living at effect? What that means is if you're living at effect, that means you're just like a dead fish going whichever way the current tells it to go. But when you live at cause, you have created yourself and you are in charge of your destiny, not just in this world, but in all the worlds that are out there. So I'm just asking you, maybe you want to consider that there's more possibilities out there than you can even imagine. And maybe you don't want to let somebody else tell you who you are, what your future is. But of course, that also brings some responsibility. So we can't leave without another jab at NASA. So NASA in the Artemis mission, and again, Artemis, and you see the serpent tongue through the Artemis logo, but they were actually using mannequins. Do you think this was the only time they've used them? They actually use mannequins. And if you look at it, they didn't spell it like mannequin. They spelled it like man-ikin, the kin of man. Do you think that they think we're all dummies? I think they might think we're all dummies. And unfortunately, in most of the occasions, they're right. They're right. Let me give you a few reports from Slay News. I think there's some really interesting thing on Slay News that I want to drop into you. Just hit a few news reports. I think it's very interesting, and there's a lot going on. Of course, we know. Where's my Slay News? Where's my Slay News? One of the things they reported on was that the elite are building bodies. What are they building them out of? They're building bodies that they can transfer their consciousness into. Slay News is also reporting on all of the scientists. And now if we want to add David Wilcock to that list, what in the world is going on? And Coast to Coast AM is also reporting that they're seeing a migration of Sasquatch. Remember, Brandon showed us, and we looked at it in depth about the Sasquatch fleeing southward in Ohio. And now they're seeing them down, continuing a southward migration. And it seems to be that they're taking notice of these fireballs and they're taking action to move away from those areas. So I find that very interesting. And there's big cats and things that shouldn't be together that are also moving along with the Sasquatch, which is not what nature does typically. And we mentioned genetically modified, and this goes to on my channel. You can find this very channel you're on. If you're on YouTube, you can find this playlist, Blinding Us with Science, American Moon. It's a great playlist. Check it out sometime if you want to. And Rapid Dog says they may be removing the opposers of Project Bluebeam. That's true. But genetically modified, who's in the chat, says, hey, Jeff, I'm not sure that you've addressed the funny business going on with Artemis. And Artemis, by the way, was the goddess of protecting children, specifically girls as well. So she's playing catch up. And she says, did you catch the cosmic comedy aspect? They did launch an April Fool's joke. Easter was right around the corner. And the lady astronaut, you know, the rocket scientist that froze up when she made a faux pas and just kind of melted down in front of us. Her name was Christina Hammock Cock. Her name, if you look at it and kind of break it down the letters, it means Christ in a hammock, or Christ in a hammock cock. Also, read wise man. The wise man was the commander. So they had 3 astronauts led by a wise man and a Christ in an Orion. And Jeanette says witchcraft. She feels like it was a cosmic skit, and it's hard to say that she's completely wrong. So Artemis, again, was a patron goddess that protected children, especially girls. She's also goddess of the moon. Now, I know a lot of people think the moon is bad. It reflects bad juju onto the earth. But what if that's an inversion and it actually projects good juju on the earth? Or maybe both are coming, and Super Galactic is right with that song in her intro about the moon, right? About the moon. So she continues, they're playing out a cosmic comedy. Literalists take it as fact. Symbologists take it as the funny fiction it is. It also puts Christ in a vessel or a body for the resurrection play in inverted female form. So, of course, they had to name the actor Cock for the entire vision to stick, which gets back to something about Mary. It's alchemical neutering on April Fool's Day, the trickster energy of reversals, inversions, and masks. And I think I added this in. Maybe she didn't. They were literally waving their proverbial cock in our faces. The cosmic comedy never stops giving. And she very adroitly says the real space that they want to invade is the space between our ears. Well done, genetically modified. Thank you for weighing in. And I believe Colleen sent this in, and I think there's a NASA connection. I just didn't forget to take the NASA logo off. This goes back to our Zorro Ranch Goes Christian deprogram. You can find that on this channel. This goes to our Trump Conundrum deprogram. You can find that on our channel right here. And if you're having, you don't have to go through all the videos. If you go onto my channel, if you come down, there's a little magnifying glass. That'll allow you to search just my channel. So you can just put in the names of these deprograms. Well, Jeff, why don't you just list them? I don't want to make it easy for you. That's why I don't. I don't want to spoon feed you. I want you to have the initiative to do some work, or you're not really the people that I'm looking for. But anyway, San Rafael Ranch, LLC, New Mexico company, founded in 2023 by the family of Texas businessman Don Huffines. They purchased Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch, which happened to be 8,000 acres, and they renamed it the San Rafael Ranch, and we'll get to that for a minute. And they're going to convert it into a Christian retreat specifically for children. But that doesn't tell the whole story. It was named after the Archangel Raphael. And I don't know if you know, but the word archangel in the Greek is this word, and it comes from archon. And Raphael happened to be the god of healing. Healing. Well, Jeff, what's wrong with healing? Well, when you're talking about healing in Kabbalistic terms, and we'll get to that, it becomes very interesting. But wait, there's more. There's more. I should start a spoon feeding pay page, right, Dagger? It was actually bought through a linked entity, and then they renamed it into San Rafael Ranch. Who was the linked entity? Well, it was owned by Don Huffines' son, who just happens to work for President Trump. Wow, that's interesting. And I always wondered why Jeffrey Epstein had the Orthodox cross at the center of the living room in the Zorro Ranch. But Russell works in Trump's White House. He's the White House Office of Cabinet Affairs. Boy, I bet he's busy. But they also have multi-millions, if not billions of dollars sunk into this Secretome Therapeutics. It's a biotech company. What do they specialize in? A little thing called neonatal cardiac progenitor cells. What are those? Well, they are, we'll get to that in just a second, but it's a biotech company that bases in cardiac neonatal cells. And oh, by the way, most of the cupcakes, including the big cupcake, are grown in human fetal cells. That's what a neonatal fetal cell is. And the cupcake was grown in neonatal fetal cells. But they're just trying to heal us, folks. They're just trying to heal us. Remember, the archangel Raphael, he's the god of healing. But when you're talking in Kabbalistic terms, and we're talking Zorro Ranch, we're talking Judeo-Christianity or second wave Abrahamism, which is all wrapped up in Kabbalah. Jesus taught Kabbalah. That's why my first venture when I left Christianity was called New Covenant Kabbalah, because I noticed that Jesus taught so much Kabbalah. But when you're talking about Raphael or Raphael, he's the god of healing. And Tikkun Olam means to heal the world. And how do they heal the world? By making everybody androgynous. This is how men can be in the body of the bride of Christ. This is what Galatians 3:28 means when it says there'll be no male, there'll be no female, there'll be no race, you'll all be one. And is this what they're talking about in Ezekiel 36? I'll give you a new heart, and I'll put a new spirit or a new entity within you and take out your heart of flesh. Are you okay with somebody taking your heart and giving you the heart that they think is of their choosing? I'm just asking you a question. And we all know how great circumcision is, right? Circumcision is wonderful. And in Deuteronomy, the God of the Bible says, "Will circumcise your hearts and the hearts of your descendants, and you will be transformed." Look that up in Romans 12, those of you that have a little initiative. It means you will be transmuted. You will come from one thing to another. That's exactly what they're doing with this human transformation into AI by the renewing or the transformation of your mind. If you want to do that, knock yourself out. But just a little reminder from the Psalms, the sacrifices, and remember they said in the New Testament, become a living sacrifice. What are they? A broken spirit and a broken heart. Do you want to have your heart broken? Do you want to have your spirit broken so they can put another spirit, another entity, another incorporeal essence into you? Just a question for my Christian friends. Just a question for my Christian friends. And just in case I didn't tell you where it is, but I gave you the verse, you can look up these words. It's in Corinthians. I narrowed it down for you. I urge you to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice. What is a living sacrifice? Most sacrifices you offer them, they're dead, right? But what's a living sacrifice? Well, if you offer your heart and you offer your spiritual essence, then they can put a new spirit in you. And according to Romans, they can start using you over and over and over and over again. That's a living sacrifice. That's a living sacrifice. And by the way, Mr. Epstein was a board member on the Lifeboat Foundation. The Lifeboat Foundation's board includes a man named Richard J. Roberts, nominated for a Nobel Prize. And what was he nominated for the Nobel Prize for? Oh, gene splicing, The Walking Dead. It's not just a TV show. What did he do? What does he do? Jeffrey's big buddy. Christians now buying it. He cuts and pastes DNA from one organism into another, allowing for genetic material transfer. I mean, objectively, it sounds that's exactly like what the Bible's talking about. I'll leave that to you to decide if you think that's true. And Jeffrey Epstein wanted to seed the race with his DNA, and the chances are north of 90% that if you got the cupcake, you got Jeffrey Epstein's DNA. So congratulations. And The reason that he had Zorro Ranch is he wanted to impregnate 20 women at a time to produce offspring. Well, the aliens do that. Well, Rabbi Laitman told us they were aliens, didn't he? Oh, and by the way, the Huffines also own another company. It's called Life Shield Bunkers. We've heard a lot about bunkers. Yes, we have. Sounds a lot like somebody, I forget who sent this. This is a comment on my channel or an email. Sounds a lot like the bunker you showed under the Hacking Man Up estate. This goes back to our Gene Hackman deprogram, also on this channel. They found a door down underneath his house. They didn't open it, but there was airflow behind it. I think this was Colleen. Air filtration, just like the Lifeboat Foundation. Bunkers. Huffines invest in secret homes, or somebody said secret ohms. No, Jim, I don't believe humans need a God to be sane, but I think you need a relationship with your ancestors and your gods and goddesses ancestrally to optimize. That's just my opinion. So, yeah. Neonatal tissue DNA. And he buys Zorro Ranch for a Christian retreat that's aimed at children. Can't make it up. Can't make it up. And speaking of all these things, even CNN has reported on an online rape academy. But they said 62 million men have logged onto it. Probably not true. But there was pornographic websites. There was this thing, how to rape a girl. Because these guys these days, they don't have any game. And it's actually probably more like 2 million or so men that have looked at it, not 62 million. But yeah, it's still pretty gross, isn't it? Still pretty gross.
Oh, hell, we got some more NASA bloopers. Y'all like the video, subscribe for more. Check this out.
It looks like you're in a studio, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska or something. The shot is so clear. Is this a hoax? Are you really in space still?
Do the hair? Do the hair?
Oh yeah, we see your hair, and we can totally see the hairspray that is quite obviously in your hair. But that's not even the worst part of the video. Now keep your eyes right here.
Oh, grab the harness.
He obviously pulls on something, a wire harness, something. And then there's this guy who's
had to grab his harness.
handling something invisible and then putting it on the shelf where it's obviously supposed to go. Here's this guy who's just casually floating back and forth.
Did you see the harness?
Just to show we're in space, in case you forgot.
No.
We have this guy here. It's the incredible disappearing astronaut.
Whoops.
What just happened there?
It's not CGI at all. Totally not CGI.
Now, this astronaut is looking like he's trying to demonstrate something, so he goes to pull out a screw and drops it.
In zero gravity.
Oh, hell.
And here we have Tom Cruise in the first Mission Impossible movie wearing a harness. Oh, no, it's just an astronaut wearing a harness. Check this one out. This dude totally gets his leg stuck.
Oops.
Look right there.
Caught on the wire.
Here, I had to show it again. Look at that.
If it was real, why do they have to do all these shenanigans? Just a question. Why do they have to do all these shenanigans? Again, you can hit our Blinding Us with Science for more of that. That's a playlist on my channel. You can find that there.
What? Oh. It's happening. Way over there, look.
Oh, hell.
Red dot.
It's the Artemis 2 launch. Sorry, but it eventually just disappears. It just disappears. The thing disappears. Where does it go? Nobody knows, but it just disappears. We'll have to go through these. When I try to stop the video, I sometimes miss. So, yeah, Artemis just disappeared while all those airplane people were watching. It's almost like it's not real.
Oh, hell, we got some.
Are you guys ready? Here we go. Here comes a spectacle. NASA. Show us why you're taking all of our money.
Lord.
Oh, look at that. That looks so cool. This guy's really excited. That's how you do it. Boom. 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 And then watch. I'd be willing to bet that this thing's not going to just go straight up in the air, perpendicular to the earth. Why would it do that? You know, if you're trying to leave the atmosphere and you have to go 17,500 miles an hour to break through our atmosphere, which is 6 times faster than a high velocity bullet, wouldn't you just go straight up in, oh, wait. CGI. Look at that. It looks like when Jeff Bezos didn't send Katy Perry to space in April of 2025. I think that was New Shepard or Blue Origin or something.
Was that a year ago already?
Come on. Isn't up towards 12 o'clock? Why is it going towards like 4 o'clock right now? There might be a firmament above us. Oh, now it's almost going back down to Earth. This is so stupid. Anybody that believes that they are actually sending somebody out to outer space right now in a rocket to prove to you why they're taking over 20 million, 60 million, I don't even know what the number is, every single day in taxes. Look at this.
Because I'm running for the presidency. I'm here because I'm personally tired of seeing this great country of ours being ripped off.
But as far as Trump is concerned, our allies are only part of the problem. The real culprit is Iran.
Why couldn't we go in and take over some of their oil, which is along the sea?
How would you do that? Would you send in the Marines? Would you take a chance in a war?
Let them have Iran. You take their oil. That's what
How?
How?
I mean, do we want a war? What do you mean we
in,
take their oil?
You go in. You're
How
have
do
a
we
war,
go
Barbara.
in?
You're going to have a war by being weak.
Okay, how do we go in? What do we do?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're going to have a war, and it's going to start in the Middle East.
What if the Soviet Union said, you do this to Iran, we're going to come in?
I don't believe they'd do it. The next time Iran attacks this country, go in and grab one of their big oil installations. And I mean grab it and keep it and get back your losses, because this country has lost plenty because of Iran.
This goes to the Trump conundrum, which was another video on this channel that you can look up. I mean, he says some good things. It's kind of a conundrum.
DOJ says there's no credible evidence to investigate
Speaking of the
Epstein's
Trump conundrum.
associates. As a former SDNY Criminal Division deputy chief who prosecuted sex trafficking cases, I disagree. In October of 2023, former U.S. Virgin Islands Attorney General Denise George went to the FBI with explosive claims. She said Epstein's lawyer and accountant were participants in Epstein's human trafficking operation. She said the sitting governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands tried to shut down her investigation. And she told the FBI that she had the goods in her case file. She even told the FBI where it was and how to get it. So here's the question. Did the FBI follow up on George's complaint or ignore it? There's no sign in the Epstein files of George's case file or any follow-up with her. Why not? George is a highly credible source. She followed the money across over 140 Epstein bank accounts. She identified over $3.5 million in payments to young women. She pursued the Epstein estate, JP Morgan, and billionaire Leon Black, and helped secure massive multi-million-dollar settlements from all of them. She fought the rich and the powerful, all while facing intense pressure to back down. Days after George filed the lawsuit against JP Morgan, the U.S. Virgin Islands governor fired her. She started giving interviews, then got hit with a cease and desist letter to shut her up. An unknown man showed up at her home. She said the message was clear. We can reach you at your home. And despite all of that, she still went to the FBI. That's how strongly she felt that the FBI should open a criminal investigation based on what she had uncovered. She named names. She gave FBI a roadmap in her interview. She told them where to find the evidence in her case file. Did DOJ ever investigate George's bombshell claims? Did they get her case file? If they didn't, why not? And if they did, why isn't it in the Epstein files? The evidence exists. George told the FBI about it. DOJ leaders' refusal to investigate any of the Epstein associates is a choice, and it is the wrong one. The Epstein survivors deserve better.
Donald Trump, just like he was going to lock her up, he said he was going to show us the Epstein files, and they trickle out, they're redacted. It's the Trump conundrum.
Mr. Secretary, you've made a number of outlandish and frankly disturbing comments both before and during your tenure as Secretary of Health and Human Services. I want to draw your attention to one of those times. In a 2024 podcast interview, you suggested that Black children on ADHD medication should be reparented. You said every Black kid is now just standardly put on Adderall, SSRI, benzos, which are known to induce violence, and that those children are going to have to go somewhere to get reparented. There is a lot to unpack in that comment. I know that you've already answered several of the questions I was going to ask, and so I'm just going to rephrase them. Mr. Secretary, you've already admitted that you are not board certified physician, and you've already admitted that you did not go to medical school. Have you ever reparented, or parented, I should say, a Black child?
I don't even know what that phrase means, and I doubt that I said it.
Yes or no answer.
I doubt that I said that phrase. No,
Absolutely.
I'm not going to answer something that I didn't say.
You absolutely said it.
I'd like to hear the recording.
Well, I found that recording. It's from June 2024 on a podcast with 19 Keys. Here it is, and you can let me know what you think.
A big Peace Corps program. You know, my uncle started the Peace Corps. He started the space program. My space program, my Peace Corps program is going to be wellness farms, rehabilitation facilities that I'm going to start in rural areas all over the country, where people, any American can go for free, any of them who is dependent on drugs, either legal drugs or illegal drugs, psychiatric drugs, which every Black kid is now just standard put on Adderall, SSRIs, benzos, which are known to induce violence. And those kids are going to have a chance to go somewhere and get reparented, to live in a community where there'll be no cell phones, no screens. You'll actually have to talk to people. And the model for this is a community that I had direct contact with because a family member of mine went there, and it's called San Padrignano's in Italy.
So no, RFK did not say that all Black kids should be reparented. What he said was that the kids that are being given these drugs should be reparented and given a chance. So this is an intentional effort by a so-called Black leader, and it's all part of getting white heathens and Black heathens to fight one another, and not the Abrahamic matrix that enslaves us all. And if you want to see more on this, there's a D program on my channel where I had a fascinating discussion with young Pharaoh, and man, it really hits home. As soon as white people and Black people find out we're slaves on the same plantation in different slave houses, and if we decide to quit fighting each other and march on the big house, they will run like the cowards they are. It's time for us to optimize, and it's time for us to help the other races optimize. And one of the best ways to do that is for each of us to have our own lands.
Last video, I told you about the personality trait. Now, let me show you the religion designed to make it feel holy.
Uh-oh.
Social dominance orientation needs what psychologists call a legitimizing myth. That's a belief system that makes inequality feel divinely ordered. America developed two competing Christianities. One fed the poor, built hospitals, pushed for workers' rights. The other told rich people their wealth was proof of God's favor and poverty was a character flaw. Guess which one got the megachurches? Here's the magic trick. If wealth equals God's favor, then suffering must be God's judgment. The hungry kid, bad parents. The sick grandmother, weak faith. The refugee, not one of God's people. Empathy becomes a spiritual weakness. Cruelty becomes discernment. And when the pastor says we take care of our own, he doesn't mean humanity. He means the pews. Research shows this exact ideology predicts voters who rank the economy above human lives and call it faith. They're not hypocrites. They're believers. That's what makes this so terrifying.
And what is more psychopathic than saying, if you don't believe in my God, you're going to burn forever in a lake of fire? And by the way, there was never any of that until the Abrahamic religions hit the earth.
8 archaeological discoveries that prove history is being hidden from us. The last one will blow your mind.
Number 1. The Antikythera mechanism was pulled from a shipwreck and is over 2,000 years old. It's a complex analog computer used to track the stars, but the technology inside shouldn't have existed for another 1,500 years. Number 2. In a cave in China, scientists found a series of iron pipes embedded deep into the mountain rock. They lead to a saltwater lake nearby, but the pipes are estimated to be 150,000 years old, long before humans even knew how to work with metal. Number 3. The Peary Race map, drawn in 1513, shows the coastline of Antarctica with perfect accuracy. The problem is, the map shows the land without any ice, and Antarctica hasn't been ice-free for at least 6,000 years. Number 4. The Sajama lines in Bolivia are a network of perfectly straight paths carved into the earth that cover 8,000 square miles. They are thousands of years old, and from the ground, they look like nothing, but from the air, they form a perfect giant web. Number 5. Deep in the jungles of Costa Rica, hundreds of perfectly spherical stones were found. They range from a few centimeters to over 2 meters wide. They are carved with incredible precision, but we have no idea how ancient people moved stones that weigh 15 tons. Number 6. The Baghdad battery is a clay jar containing a copper cylinder and an iron rod. When filled with vinegar, it produces an electrical charge. This means ancient civilizations might have been using electricity 2,000 years before Benjamin Franklin. Number 7. In Russia, researchers found nanostructures, tiny metal coils and spirals buried in 100,000-year-old sediment. They are so small, they can only be seen with a microscope, suggesting someone was using nanotechnology in the Stone Age. Before I say the last one, hit that follow button to support the channel. Number 8. In 1936, a hammer was found encased in solid rock that is 400 million years old. The wood handle has turned to coal, and the iron head is 96% pure iron, a level of purity that is impossible to achieve without modern chemical smelting.
Come on, Fast Fred, really? It seems like you come in with some cognitive dissonance and some confirmation bias. I might suggest you just open your mind and think a little bit.
I saw her and I walked up and she was questioning, not directly to me, but she asked me why they did that to her character. Why did they try to say hello and hug? It was great to see her, but she said, why would they ever just write her off in that way? And I think everyone involved was, I remember reading it and doing it, just felt very, you know, okay, they have a fight and it bangs up the car, and I don't even remember what it was, but it was a one-off, just so she wasn't, they didn't deal with her character in the sequel. I really, I believe, you know, on the day, just like with Randy Heller, who played my mom, you know, I think the producers at the time was very much, listen, I need the old man, I need the kid. If we make the deals, we make the deals. We don't make the deals, we don't. I'm paraphrasing, but I think at the end of the day, you know, it just, there wasn't a lot of real estate with going to Okinawa.
Right. Or were those women unwilling to do some of the things that were expected of them?
What the hell did Brad Pitt say here, y'all? Is this a joke? They keep saying this stuff, y'all, and it's like, when do we start taking them serious? Listen to this.
It took me to my adult years, or leaving home, where I could really try on something different for myself. That was Satanism. It's working out really well.
The audience laughs. Is he joking?
I mean, when do we start believing them?
It's so funny, isn't it?
You're looking for a house, a condo, an apartment to buy? You might want to look at Red Cloak. I'm not joking, because he's selling something, and he owns a lot. And I'm not talking about selling these women or sex workers or whatever the hell they are. Because if you look closely, my fellow movie fans, when Bill is walking, there's a Vitale real estate sign. And yes, Leon Vitale and Stanley Kubrick were longtime collaborators. And he also played Red Cloak at the mansion. And that connection is really important here, because the sign right above Bill points to ownership. This company, Vitale Real Estate, owns property. It owns space. It owns the physical world that Bill is moving through. And Red Cloak presides over that hidden world. We don't really know who he is. But now, let's bring in Ziegler, the man who hosted the Christmas party, the man who knows all the rules. The man who quietly explains to Bill how everything works and how everything begins to align. Vitali Real Estate connects to Red Cloak because Red Cloak is played by Leon Vitali. And Red Cloak aligns with Ziegler. He taps the cue ball on the red billiards table. He points to Bill exactly like Red Cloak does. So what does this all really mean? Ziegler has full ownership of this city. He owns the buildings. He owns the rooms. He owns the spaces where people walk. Bill's walking through this city, New York City, thinking he has access and he's learning things. But every door he enters already belongs to someone else. And I believe Vitali Real Estate is owned by him. He decides who gets in and who gets out because he owns everything. And Bill is walking around the city like a tenant. He's allowed in certain spots, but then he's removed in others, especially when he goes too far. So Kubrick is showing us that you never really own the world that you walk through. It's always owned by someone else, someone more powerful. You're just renting. And the ones who own it don't need to announce themselves. They place their names in plain sight and watch you move through already what belongs to them. Did you notice the sign, Vitali Real Estate, for sale? And if you did, what do you think it means? Drop a comment.
And the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. So if you stay within their frame, they own you, and you're just a tenant. What would happen if you create yourself?
Take this piece off.
This is interesting.
And put it over here. And now you see, the United States is no longer in the middle of the map.
Right.
Now, I did this with a major record company in New York City, I think in 1970. And an older man stood up in the back of the room and said, "Now, Elliot, you've gone too far." I said, "What's your problem?" "You can't do that with the map." I said, "Well, actually, you can." He said, "No, the United States isn't in the middle of the map anymore." I said, "The United States never was in the middle of the map. You need to realize this depends on how you draw your map." And then I pointed this little fact out to him. South America is actually 9 times larger than Greenland.
Even though it doesn't really look like it.
No, it is! South America is actually 9 times larger than Greenland.
It's crazy.
Now, according to your social studies teachers, what is the equator? Halfway between the North Pole and the South Pole on this map would be right about here.
Right.
And that means that Iowa has a semi-tropical climate.
Yeah.
Well, you've been in Minnesota in the wintertime.
I've been in Iowa too. It's definitely
You know that it doesn't have a tropical climate. So you have to then introduce a real version of the map that this is doing. That's very Peters projection map. The sizes on this map are right. The shapes are distorted. Look at Greenland on this map. Right there. See it?
Yeah, it's really tiny.
See how small that is?
Right.
Look at it on the Mercator projection.
So why do they do that? I don't understand.
Why? Because the Pope commissioned Mercator to make a map that shows the spread of Christianity. So all the countries in which there are predominantly white people are larger than those in the southern part of the world, halfway between the North Pole and South Pole.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you have children going to school and they're seeing this map.
Wow. What are they hiding, folks?
And now it's time for that great cigar box routine, taught to me personally by W.C. Fields himself. Now, what Fields said to me is he said, "Ron," I said, "What?"
Let's have a little fun.
Well, my name's Ron. So he said, "Stack all 3 boxes up like this. We're going to throw the bottom box out there in the middle and the top. Well, just watch. It's good. I've been working on this routine about 8.5 years now. Finally got it down to perfection. There's no magnets, strings, or mirrors in these boxes. It's all real stuff. Here we go." Thank you. No, it's too late. I appreciate the concern, ma'am. Then what he said to do is start spinning the inbox around like this till we work ourselves off the edge of the stage. We're going to do the other end so we get back in the middle. Once we're back in the middle, we're going to start doing both boxes like this. We're going to spin the center box with those two boxes. Then we're going to take them out of the center as fast as humanly possible. If the crowd isn't going crazy by now, something's definitely wrong. Then he said, go from one side, just like that. Whoa, to the other. Behind the back. Then from both sides at the same time. Just like that. Over the top, around the center. With the left, with both. From below, from behind. A double. 2 boxes, 3 hands, no boxes. Then he said to me, Ron, once you can hand them over the top, hand them behind your back, hand them under your leg. Oh, geez, that was good. Once we can do that, we're going to start throwing them through the legs, just like this. We're going to go through the legs the other way, just like this. Kick the guy in the front row in the face. Behind the back. Woo, one more time. We're going over the top the hard way. Now we're going back. Big finale here. 1 up, 2 up, 3 up. No way. There we go. 1, 2. 1 more for the Gipper. 3.
Okay, that was pretty cool. We got to have a little bit of fun, right? Got to have a little bit of fun.
So Putin said the elites are eating what? Y'all like the video and check this one out.
Столетиями набивать брюхо человеческой плотью.
God.
Но они должны понять, что бал вампиров заканчивается.
I don't often agree with Putin, but they have been stuffing their bellies with human flesh. And who's they? Doesn't Christianity eat the flesh and drink the blood? The vampire's ball is coming to an end, my friends.
Look at this opening scene
One more.
of Eyes Wide Shut. Helena is with Fairy Wings. She's really innocent and really cute. She's really imaginative. And Bill and Alice, and if you notice Bill standing underneath a light, are leaving their daughter with a babysitter. She seems like a nice woman. She seems kind of calm. And Bill says something really interesting. He doesn't even know her name. But he does something what most parents do on a normal Saturday night. He hands his daughter over to her. And that, my friends, is how the story of Eyes Wide Shut is going to begin. A child in fantasy left with someone unfamiliar, while the adults are stepping into a world of masks and desire and hidden power. And then the night unfolds, and Bill walks through a reality that reveals itself layer by layer. He starts to see that things aren't what they appear to be, that different people play roles. And now we're at the end of the film. It's Helena again, and she has a big teddy bear. We all know what Kubrick thinks about teddy bears. That's a different video, though. But just focus on Helena's coat. It's a deep blue coat. Where else do we see that deep blue color? Right. On the mailbox with the creepy looking guy behind it. And in front of Milich's shop. And the first time we see it is outside the hotel. So Helena's coat and this blue mailbox are the same color. So Helena in her blue coat, and yes, that's a blue baby carriage, begins drifting in the toy store. So Helena begins following these 2 older men. And she's not being pulled by them or forced by them. And by the way, if you look at the toy store scene, there are older men everywhere. I don't know about you, but I've been to a million toy stores with my kids, and it's generally not filled with older, creepy men. But anyway, Bill's right there, and he's letting it all happen. He closes the film on the same feeling that he had in the first intro. Bill hands her off to someone he doesn't even know. And at the end, he watches her walk away with men that he doesn't even know. But the difference is now he sees how the world really is, and he still doesn't act. In the beginning, she's really sweet with the fairy wings. But in the end, she ends in blue, in something colder. Closer to the system Bill just brushed up against. Serious question, guys. Did they give the daughter up? Drop a comment. Don't forget to follow, like, share, and favorite for more deep dives into this is the creepiest toy store ever.
So follow, like, and share here too, and make sure you subscribe. They just want us to know that we're giving our children away, and we send our kids away every day to public school with people that we don't even know. We're going to probably bypass the emails. That went a little long. So I'm also doing this, the word doesn't mean what you think it means through the Bible. We're going to bypass that one tonight as well because of the lateness of the hour, and I want to get to the meat of the D program. So let's talk about it. Trump is the rider on the white horse. I believe I've got proof that says that he is. Interestingly, now this is from Colleen. This fits. When you walk through the seals, false peace, wearing a crown. Next horse is red, which is bloodshed, which is happening now. Third horse is famine, which is soon to come. The fourth is death, a lot of people dying. And of course, you see in Revelation 6:2, I looked and saw a white horse. Its rider held a bow. It was given a crown, and he rode out to overcome and to conquer, Revelation 6:2. And somebody sold a whole lot of these postcards with Donald Trump portrayed as a white horse rider. How about that? But that's not my proof. And I looked and I saw a white horse, and its rider held a bow. And he went out conquering and to conquer. We see Trump going out to conquering and to conquer. But do you know what the word bow means? Look it up in Revelation 6. And the word bow means toxin. Toxon, toxin. They play word games sometimes. And how is Donald Trump associated with a toxin? Well, he's Mr. Warp Speed. He brought the cupcake to everybody. He got the cupcake himself. He got boosted. It's good. Do it. The white horse rider brings a toxin and starts wars. Donald Trump has brought us the toxin, the cupcake, and he's starting wars. Linguistically, I call that proof. I think that seals it in the first seal that Donald Trump is the white horse rider. And Dr. Don Michael says, do we have any idea how many people died from the cupcake when they didn't even start counting people as being consumers of the cupcake until after 14 days after the second shot? You had to have a cupcake and then have another cupcake before you even counted in the cupcake statistics. Peter Sweden says that a Pfizer insider, and not just a guy that delivered the mail, not just a guy that did accounting, but a guy that was the head of toxology for all of Europe for Pfizer, he estimates that just in the country of Germany alone, 20 to 60,000 people have died from eating the cupcake. Wow. Wow. He said this at a parliamentary inquiry commission in Germany. And he was literally overseeing the testing of the safety of medicines in Europe before they could get to clinical trials. Small correction. He didn't really say 20 to 60,000. He said just 60,000. And this is an expert, folks. This is an expert. March 19, even Grok says, yes, this is real. March 19, 2026, he spoke before the Bundestag Corona Intake Commission. He confirmed 2,133 reported deaths after the cupcake and said about 60,000 cupcake-related deaths just in Germany. It never should have been
CBS
approved.
Health Watch, sponsored by Pfizer. Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer. ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer. CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer. This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press Data Download. Brought to you by Pfizer. This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer.
On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Bill Gates' advice on how to combat mistrust in science at 60minutesovertime.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You really need to get vaccinated.
You know, COVID vaccines are now available for children 5 years and older. And the more people who get them, the better we're going to be able to help stop the spread of COVID.
Wow. Wow. Requires no
CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer. Anderson Cooper 360.
A groundbreaking study from Japan analyzing 20 million people. Those that hadn't had the cupcake amongst those 20 million showed no excess mortality. People fall off ladders. People get hit by buses. People eat too much biscuits and gravy and they die. But the people in the study, and this is 20 million people, that's a large sampling. None of them showed any excess mortality. But the peak in fatalities occurred in the first 100 days after eating the cupcake. We're off the chart. There's a pattern. A surge in deaths 3 months after each cupcake they ate. It's undeniable. It's damning. How can they just dismiss these cupcake deaths? The temporal link between cupcakes and delayed mortality is biologically possible. These findings demand an immediate and independent investigation, but I don't think it's coming. Mr. Warp Speed. And I noticed it was Revelation 6:2. He's in his second term. He held a toxin and he said he got it out to everybody with warp speed. I think that seals that Trump is the first white horse of Revelation, the one of the first seal. And then another horse went forth, and it was bright red, just like the MAGA cap. It was bright red. The White House, interesting. President Trump is the president of peace, the guy who started the Iran war. And do you know that the sword that the writer has is called a slaughter knife? It's the short sword of Roman design. It's an instrument for exacting retribution. I was first impressed that Trump was building this arch. Oh, is he trying to say he's going to do what Titus did? But then when you think about it on the other side of the equation, is he building an arch to show his retribution against those that built the first great arch? It's the Trump conundrum, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Trump conundrum. President Trump is the president of peace. And do you notice where it said in Revelation where it's 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, touch not the oil and the wine? Well, it just so happens that quote about how much for the barley, how much for the grain, the word is yoke, and it's the standard daily allowance for a Roman soldier, exactly the daily allowance of a Roman soldier in the first century. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Is the famine going to be this, you got to eat this grain, and we're going to give you the same amount that we gave the soldiers that destroyed the Abrahamic matrix, destroyed first wave Abrahamism, destroyed second wave Abrahamism, which is Christianity? Wow. There's a lot to think about here. Throughout the Bible, just so you think I'm not extrapolating, throughout the Bible, grain, wine, and oil are spiritual symbols of God's covenantal relationship with his people. Here it is, barley for a denarius. Don't harm the oil and wine, because the oil and wine are symbols of who? The Abrahamic matrix. Wow. Wow. He's the president of peace. Look at all the U.S. military bases across the world. Tartaros, look that up. Sounds a lot like Tartarus, doesn't it? Hell on earth. But they're telling us to save America by making Holy Rome great again. Are you kidding me, folks? Are you kidding me? He goes out to slay, to slaughter, and to kill. That's, the word is Tartaros. Trump, is he bringing Tartarus? What does that mean? It means to butcher an animal for food or sacrifice. They call us animals. They call us cattle. Are they eating us? Are they sacrificing us? Well, Paul in Corinthians said, the reasonable service of a person within the Abrahamic matrix is to give yourself as a living sacrifice. Save America, make Rome great again, all the Abrahamics tell us. But some of us are asking this question. How long until you judge these people? How long until you avenge our blood? How long will we wait to do all we can so we're worthy of help? And the help will come if we do our part. And only when we do our part. Because Matthew 24 says, well, this is Revelation, but it's also right in Matthew 24. There will come a black sun. The black sun came and destroyed the Abrahamic matrix. It destroyed the temple in Jerusalem. It hunted them down all across the planet, destroyed the Abrahamic matrix. The whole moon turned blood red. And the figs dropped from a tree. The figs dropped like the tree was shaken by a great wind. And if you look at Israel and national prosperity, the fig tree is used as a symbol of Israel and its national prosperity. The destruction of a fig tree is Israel's judgment and desolation. And even the Christian identities tell us they're Israel. So Jesus used the fig tree to convey messages of judgment and spiritual barrenness. In Matthew 24, it talks about a black sun coming to shake the fig tree. Shake the fig tree, with apologies to Pam Tillis. Just something to think about. And the sixth seal came. And the people that were shaken said, hide us from the face of the one that's coming. Because the great day of their wrath has come, and who will be able to withstand it? I don't think the Abrahamics will be able to withstand it. I don't think they will. And then we go into Revelation 8, the trumpets. If you look at the trumpets, those look just like some type of biowarfare on our planet. And then Revelation 10 says, hey, here's the small scroll for you. Take it and eat it. It makes your stomach bitter, but in your mouth it's sweet as honey. Reminds me of the Bible, because the Bible is a small scroll. You know, many books were taken out of it. So this small scroll, to a lot of people, it tastes like honey. But if you look at it, if you study it, if you understand it, it'll make your stomach bitter. It tastes good, but in reality, it makes you sick. Just something to think about. And did you know about the gut-brain connection? It's an intricate communication between the digestive system, which is your stomach, and your brain. It impacts your overall health. It impacts your entire nervous system, your vagus nerve, and your gut biome. So by eating the small scroll, eating your small scroll, it destroys your stomach, which destroys your brain. Maybe this is why they say now we have the mind of Christ. It's no longer I that live, but he that lives in me. And I'm to take every thought captive to the obedience of the Abrahamic matrix. They're trying to take over your gut brain, and they're trying to take over your head brain. And the sad fact is that you don't even have to take it away because most people are willing to just give it to them. Are you that person? And if you look at Revelation 12, there's a war between the woman and the dragon. I think we showed the dragon is us. This war in heaven, is Ben Davidson right? Suspicious observers. Potentially, is there a war in heaven right now between two great space fleets? And a lot of these fireballs we're seeing is destructions of craft. The woman, which is us, we're being persecuted. Go back to the last D program. We talked about, what was her name? Oh, Leto. Leto and the serpent. Look at that. Let me give you some hope, though. At the end of all of this, the dragon stood. Yeah, it's the last days are upon us. Look at that D program. The dragon stood. We are the dragon. And we will stand. We will be the last one standing. If we do stand. It might be time. Is it time for you to get off your knees and start to stand? Just a question. Just a question. I think I proved Trump is the rider on the first white horse in the first seal of Revelation. Her Majesty is in the house. Great to see her. So let's get into, and this is just an introduction to this subject, but boy, does it put a great big old exclamation point on this D program tonight. A great big exclamation. Oh, I like the purple. It doesn't look purple when I've got my glasses on because I got this light on me. I meant to powder my forehead, but I forgot. Cynthia's got some, I was going to put that little brush on my forehead. Somebody mentioned that my head was a little shiny. Sorry. But I draw the line at a little forehead powder. I draw the line at a little forehead powder. Not going to do the eyeliner, no guy liner. Not for me. But, you know, maybe a little forehead powder. That might not be too bad. So let's look at some of the secret symbols of the dollar bill. And whatever you think they mean, I can almost guarantee you that they don't mean what you think they mean. Let's see if you think I'm right. So let's talk about the dollar bill. And this all ties into Save America, Make Rome Great Again. It ties into our Last Days Are Upon Us D program. You can find it right here on the channel. Just search it. Come out of this book I bought. Old book, hard to buy, not cheap. Secret Symbols of the Dollar Bill. And the dollar bill was originally designed in 1776 by Jefferson, Adams, and Franklin. And yet it's still very mysterious today. And the Great Seal, it's designed with esoteric mysteries, and we don't understand them. And basically, we don't understand them because we refuse to realize, because of the Charlie Kirks of the world that tell us that America was founded a Christian nation. But the reality is that we don't understand America and we don't understand the Great Seal because America And the Great Seal was designed by deists that didn't believe in revelational religion, didn't believe in the Bible, didn't believe that it was real until the Great Spirit, the Most High, revealed it to them. The Great Seal and the dollar bill was designed by deists who were pagans. Have you ever considered that? If you're trying to understand the Great Seal and you're trying to understand it in a Judeo-Christian frame, you can't, because it wasn't designed by Judeo-Christians. It was designed by deist pagans. And these pagan origins of the United States led Francis Bacon, that Francis Bacon, who was a secret financial supporter of the first colonies. He wrote a book that suggested that the United States was, in his words, the new Atlantis. I know the little midget, weak forearmed, shoot us in the back, stab us in the back, Andrew Wilson. I know he laughed about Atlantis, tried to trip me up on that, but I wouldn't play. The founding fathers are mostly good, Bagel Hate. But the true secrets of these symbols have been lost because the arcane pagan sources have been discarded. It's hard to understand the baby when it's been thrown out with the bathwater. But perhaps someone meant it to be that way, because the magic, and I put the magic with a K on purpose to differentiate it from like illusion and stage magic, the magic of the dollar bill in these lost ancient symbols, numerologies, and hidden alignments, that's where the magic is. And you know, there's good magic and there's bad magic. And for the Christians that want to get upset, prayer is magic. Prayer is actually trying to hijack other people's intention with your intention. That's bad magic. You might call it black magic. But if we open our minds, we can rediscover these great hidden truths. We can rediscover the original meanings of these things. And an interesting note, the dollar sign doesn't appear anywhere on the dollar bill. Did you know that? And the word dollar only appears twice, once in the front, once on the back. And it reminds me of it's called the New Testament double emphatic. You know, in the Old Testament, they had a triple emphatic, holy, holy, holy. The New Testament was a double emphatic, verily, verily. And would it interest you to know that the word dollar is linked to a very specific word? And that word is nakash, or the serpent. And the numerological sum of both words is the same. 358, which reduces to 88, which reduces to 7. And in numerology, especially in deistic, pagan, numerological wisdom, the number 7 represents wisdom. It represents introspection. It represents spiritual awareness. It represents the quest for deeper truths. It sounds like creating yourself. You want to go deep real quick? Can we go deep just for a few quick minutes and then we'll get out of here? Would it interest you to know that the original symbol proposed for the dollar by Thomas Jefferson, the deist, was not the dollar sign that we know? The symbol that appears on your screen right now was the original symbol suggested and preferred by Thomas Jefferson. It's that symbol right there. It looks like a T. It's really a cross with an S on it, which represents a serpent. Watch this. Watch this. And my question for you to consider tonight is, did Jefferson intentionally desire to draw an equivalency between the Old Testament and New Testament concepts of the Christ in contrast to this new thing, this new America that was being birthed in the new Atlantis? Was he trying to substitute a new Christ for the old Christ? Because if you notice this T and S that Jefferson said, let's make this the dollar sign, is emblematic of Old Testament terms, the brazen cross that was raised in the desert, and then the New Testament cross that Christ was allegedly crucified on. And even Jesus said, If I be lifted up, I will draw all men to me. A direct allusion, a direct allegory, a direct callback to Moses raising the brazen serpent on what was really a T. If you get into the original Greek, you'll see the cross was a steros, probably just a single pole, but the thing he had to carry and they nailed you to, that made it the cross. So Jefferson saying the old Christ, the new Christian Christ is the same as the Old Testament Christ, but we got a new Christ for you. We got a new Christ for you. And here it comes. I know that Fast Fred's having a little bit of trouble here, but stay with me. What does the word Christ really mean? Do you know it wasn't the last name of the Jesus character? Do you know what the word Christ really means? It means to anoint. It means the flow. It means to be divinely authorized. And the word Christ is not even an English word. If it was a name, it could be brought across the same, but it wasn't a name. It should be Christos. And Christos means to be anointed. Do you want to, and this is a question, do you want to give your sovereignty to this Christ figure? Do you want to die and let him inhabit you? Do you want to give up your own mind and have all of your thoughts dedicated to him, really demanded and implanted by him? Or do you want to have the anointing direct from the heavens? Why do you need a Christ who is the only mediator between God and man? Why do you need a mediator? Why can't you go directly to the divine yourself? I wonder if you might not enjoy the anointing rather than being a slave. In the New Testament, every time the word servant of Christ appears, it means a slave. The word is slave, doulos. Look it up. So I guess my question to you tonight would be the same question that Jesus asked in the New Testament. You got to look this up. You got to do a little work. Would you rather be anointed? Would you rather be empowered? Would you rather be divinely authorized? Would you rather be in the flow directly? Or do you need somebody to be your middleman? It's a question for you. Only you can answer. So I ask you, what about you? Who do you say Jesus is? Who do you say I am as a person? You, yourself. Who am I? Well, Simon Peter, who founded, they say, the Roman Catholic Church, said that you are the Christos. Hey, Kenneth Schwartz, you are the anointed. You are the empowered. You are divinely authorized. You are sons of the living God. Look up the word God there. Doesn't mean the God of the Bible. It means gods, goddesses, any God. Carmen doesn't need a middleman. Do you need a middleman? Do you want a middleman? My message to you is that you are the Christ, the sons and daughters of the living God. You are the anointed. You are the empowered. You are the divinely authorized. You are in the flow, and you don't need a dam between you and the source. Some have suggested that the stauros, just the middle beam, is a direct link between God and man, and that the crossbeam of the cross carried by Christ cuts that off. And now you have to go through a middleman. Just something to think about, something for you to consider. And Thomas Jefferson, keen Bible student that he was, I believe he saw a correlation between the Old Testament Nakash and the New Testament Christ, and thought it important enough to proclaim that we, the people, on our very currency that we would use in our day-to-day lives, should understand that there's a new, and we'll get into it next time, a new order of the ages. Why did our forefathers flee Europe? Because they were being taught who to worship, how to worship, where to worship. But Jefferson says we have a new order of the ages, and it's to be a direct relationship with our gods, with the Most High. Does this explain his effort to have the symbol favored by alchemists to represent the dollar? And remember, Thomas Jefferson said that a central bank was more dangerous to liberty than a standing army. Just a few more fun facts and we'll get out of here. There's a combined 7 words under these 2 rounds on the dollar. The Great Seal, and this is the front of the Great Seal of the United States. This is the back. There's 7 words on both of the rounds of the U.S. dollar. There's the word one appears 7 times on the dollar bill. Now, let me remind you that in magical pagan numerology, 7 is a deeply spiritual number. It represents a triumph of spirit, which is a 3, over the triumph of matter, money, which is a 4. Could it be that Jefferson wanted us to have a daily reminder that we can do this? We can cut out the middleman if we choose to. And by the way, 7 stands for the complete temple. And even the script kosher discloses to us that the real temple is our bodies. And if the real temple is our bodies, then we contain the spark of divinity irregardless. Not irregardless, regardless. Irregardless isn't a word, by the way. Regardless of what religion we follow. What if you didn't have to wait for the third temple? What if we don't need a third temple? What if we are the temple? What if we have the spark of divinity? What if we can live sovereign? What if we can live free? Would that change your life a little bit? And in 1935, FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the creator of the New Deal, the creator of the welfare state that is now destroying all people, he ordered a new dollar bill to design, and he hired this guy named Edmund M. Weeks to oversee it. Who was Edmund M. Weeks? He was the man behind the Zodiac Club. Now, I didn't put the thumbnail here, but the Zodiac Club, we did a deep program on that too. Just search on the channel, you can see it. The Zodiac Club. It'll blow your mind. And both of the rounds are deep with Freemasonic injury and imagery. The new one. The Great Seal of the United States is what they read collectively. And did the redesign of the dollar bill signal our sealing to the Abrahamics Freemasonic order designed by the man behind the Zodiac Club? Was this the true New Deal? The true New Deal? I'm with Dagger. I don't need a new deal. I like the old deal. The deal that doesn't have a middleman. But that's my opinion. And by the way, this is the original Great Seal that Thomas Jefferson designed. It had an olive branch consisting of 16 leaves. Again, we're back to the magical use of the number 7. Boom. Thank you, Carmen. She says it's been great. What does the number 5 mean? Because the eagle has 23 total feathers in his wings. Why would you have it 23? Only because you're trying to get to 5. And the 5, more than any other number in magical numerology, pertains to change and adaptation. This goes back to create yourself. We can change. We can adapt. We can grow. I spent 25 years as a Christian minister. I realized that I say I'm a 25-year minister, but I haven't stopped ministering. And it's also the central number. We're the center. If you look at all of the digits, it's the central number of the 9 digits. There's 4 before 5. There's 4 after 5. You can be the center of your own universe if you decide to create yourself. You can change. You can adapt. You can take risks. And when you take risks, transitions occur. And it becomes impossible to stand still. You grow, you grow, you grow. Somebody said, well, you sound different than you did on the Young Pharaoh show. Well, guess what? That was 5 years ago. If you haven't grown in 5 years, it means you're stagnant. And oh, by the way, the Jefferson seal, if you notice, all those seals are 6-pointed stars. Those are hexagrams. Hexagram. Jefferson was a smart dude. He was trying to tell us something, in my opinion. And you see that these 6 stars, these 6 hex stars, they appear in a cloud. They're looming. They seem to be looming in a cloud over the head of this eagle, this great new thing. Is this a warning that the new nation's very nature says e pluribus unum, which means out of many one? Come to this country, worship your God. We'll leave you the hell alone. You leave other people to worship their gods the hell alone. Only the Abrahamics say you got to worship our God. I don't care if it's the Jews, the Christians, or the Muslims. You either worship their God or you're done. The original founding of this nation said that we all can come together as one. Leave your religion out of politics. Out of many, one. Did he put that on there to let us know that we're under constant threat of this cloud? This cloud of a force that's identified with the 6-pointed star. Is this disclosure of a hex? Does this remind you of the Old Testament pillar of cloud? Does this remind you of Jesus returning in the cloud? And by the way, look it up in your Bible. Look at the original number. It doesn't say Jesus is coming in the clouds. It says he's coming in the cloud. What is the cloud in the original Great Seal of America? It's a cloud of 6-pointed stars. Together, it forms a 6-pointed star. Are we under threat of a cloud? Jesus is coming out of this 6-starred cloud. He's Abrahamic. He was proto-Abrahamic. No matter what you say. And then they hired somebody to change the seal. And it was Tiffany and Company. Tiffany. You know, the jewelers. And by the way, did you know? And I actually asked Donald Trump this personally. He said, yes, that's true. Because, you know, Trump Tower was originally going to be called the Tiffany Tower. Because he actually bought the airspace over the Tiffany Tower to build Trump Tower. So the Trump Tower was supposed to be called the Tiffany Tower. And Tiffany redesigned the seal, and they changed Jefferson's 6-pointed stars to 5-pointed stars in 1935. No, it was 1885. My bad. Even better. 1885. Could they have changed the stars to lessen the stigma becoming more associated with a certain people, the Abrahamics? America was a Christian nation. Do you know that in 1780, really, after the war was over and America was a free country, at most, the number of Christians in America was 30%, maybe. And scholars have argued that Christianity did not become the dominant religion of the United States until the Second Great Awakening, which is in the 1850s. Just trying to give you something to think about. And the 5-pointed star has always been favored by Christians because they say, hey, Jesus has 5 letters. Christians used to wear these Christian amulets that you see painted there. It's funny. They're against magic, but they're wearing amulets. And yet the arrangement of these Jesus stars into a 6-pointed star was strangely retained. It's almost like they're trying to tell us something. And Christian imagery maintains that the Jesus star, the 5-pointed star, is symbolic of the duration of duration, living long no matter what, and time. And by the way, just so you know, the goddess Lyra is a chaotic lesser deity. That reminds me of somebody, a chaotic lesser deity. It's also been asserted by none less than Schuyler Hamilton, who was an American soldier, a farmer, an engineer, and the grandson of Alexander Hamilton. He said those 13 stars represent the constellation of Lyra. He was born a bastard and taken in by a prosperous merchant. Alexander Hamilton was. He authorized the Federalist Papers, and he was the earliest advocate of a strong federal government rather than the original Jeffersonian concept of states' rights. Interesting. John Quincy Adams supported the Jewish homeland. He encouraged the rebuilding of Judea. And in 1820, John Quincy Adams, the 6th president, interestingly, of the United States, he proposed a new design for the American passport. Was it, I see, passportal? Rabbi Laitman, that came in from somewhere else? And in this design for the American passport, the great eagle was holding a design of the constellation Lyra. This is the constellation Lyra. And if you read those words right there, it means they are now led by the stars. The stars? Could it be these stars? These 6-pointed, change them to 5, leave them a 6-pointed cumulatively. They are now led by the stars. This got me thinking. Did you know that the Lyrans, Carrie Cassidy said Wilcock faked his death with the help of the secret space program. And they're big on these Lyrans. And generally they say these Lyrans are great guys, great girls. But the Lyrans are lions. And they seeded. They put their seed, kind of like Rabbi Laitman said, on Earth. And they're adapting the local population while retaining echoes of their original blueprint. Does anybody else, when you think about the lion, think of the lion of the tribe of Judah? Isn't that mentioned somewhere? Oh, yeah. It's in the Bible. The lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, who we proved in the last program was a golem. He said it himself. He opens the seals. Who set forth Trump to be the president? Where did he get all his money from? Who dominates his cabinet? Yes, everybody says it's the Jews, the proto-Abrahamics. That's true. But also, it's the second wave Abrahamics, the Christians. Wow. This is deep. I'm coming to an end.
In fact, we're not coming from here.
Rabbi Laitman.
We came from there. Like this. This is Israel at their root. So we went through such a route that took us inside by what's called the shattering of the vessels.
Tikkun Olam.
The shattering of the collective soul.
Who's the chief of staff that sent this command unit?
him, the Creator. Israel is a part of him.
So, seemingly this chief of staff sent his command unit.
Sent the commando, gave them strength, gave them the connections, everything. And if they're connected to him, but they have no choice. He broke them. He shattered them. What does it mean? In order to put them inside the hostile land, he had to give them the same form of that hostile land. It's like we go into a country as an undercover team.
This is Rabbi
And
Laitman.
each one of us is exactly like the people of the land. Say we're being now sent somewhere, Africa, for instance. So we'll take on the same shape and form of the people in Africa. The characteristics, traits, approach, interests, everything. The same exact form, inside and out. As we are there, it's like an undercover agent. He is there for a while, no one touches him, he has to start working, build a house, family, everything is fine, okay, for years and years. After that, he starts doing something. He gets a reminder from outside. You got to start working. He already forgot about it. And all of a sudden, they call him, here is your commander, this and this and that. Like in the movies. And like in Jason Bourne. And this is what's happening with us. We have to wake up. We have to remember that we have a special mission. And really, this isn't our place. We're coming from a completely different place. So we have to find our friends according to this awakening. Did you get a phone call? I got a phone call. He got a phone call, and so on. And then we gather as a group. So from this entire planet, we are aliens. We're coming from a different galaxy. We received this ray of light, this awakening, individually, and now we're gathering as groups, starting to prep ourselves to conquer Earth. That's the mission. What? You don't see it?
How do we conquer it?
How do we conquer it? We're also sent the method. We're being shown everything gradually. We're being taught. Not taught, but kind of being trained, activated.
Like sleeper cells.
And then that emotion and mind awakens in us.
Like the Holy Spirit.
But in fact, it's new to us, but in fact it's coming from our original planet.
Which isn't this planet.
And thanks to that original natural force we have, we will take over. We'll take over those living on Earth.
What?
What are you looking at me like that? You don't believe what I'm telling you? I'm telling you seriously. It's even more than that. It's not a different galaxy. It's a different universe. It's a different dimension altogether.
Do you believe him?
That's who we are.
The people from the other side. Those from beyond. That wasn't Jeffrey telling you that. That was Rabbi Laitman. And we have the Abrahamic promotion of the constellation of Lyra. I have to ask, did we just discover the portal that Rabbi Laitman was discussing is that portal Lyra. And all of the David Wilcox and Corey Goods of the world love these Lyran beings. They love them some Lyrans. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm just here to try to get you to think. And if Rabbi Finkelstein, if Rabbi Laitman is telling you these things, and he's telling you them very plainly, you might want to consider believing him or not. It's up to you. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to try to get you to think. And you can think or you cannot think. You can be comfortable within the frame that you've been assigned. You can be comfortable with the middleman, or you can say, that's not for me. But it's up to you. Do you want to be divine, sovereign, and free? Or do you want to be on bended knee, living in a frame that somebody else gave you, never realizing the potentiality that's within you? These are questions that only you can answer. I would suggest to you that you might want to ponder whether you are born with original sin, or do you rather have the seed of the divine, the spark of the divine within? Are you divine, sovereign, and free? Or are you content to outsource to another Christ instead of being the anointed, instead of being in the flow, instead of being the divinely appointed one to decide and design your own destiny? Do you want to stand up or do you want to live on bended knee? It's a choice that only you can make. I would suggest that you are divine, sovereign, and free. And that you don't have to go on bended knee to somebody else's savior. You don't need a savior. And we're winning. The truth is coming out. It's time to optimize yourself, to create yourself. You're the last generation of real humans. If you want to be. If you want to be. And it's up to you. I'm just the mailman. This has been a special delivery. What you do with it is up to you. And there's another little secret that I want to share with you. And that secret is that you have not only a divine destiny that you can fulfill, but you've got a promise that was hidden within the scripture of the Abrahamic matrix. And that promise is that all that the enemy has stolen from you will be returned to you sevenfold. There's that 7 again. I'm always bringing the receipts, brother. Thank you. And you get this other thing that's called retribution. It's all going to be restored to you. It's all going to be given back to you with 700% interest. Their invention of interest is going to be turned back upon them. How about that? Are you ready to create yourself? Are you ready to live divine, sovereign, and free? Are you ready to cut out the middleman and go straight to the Most High yourself? Rabbi Laitman was very plain. The rest is up to you. But if you're interested, and I'll stay here and answer some chat. I'm not going to open the phone lines tonight. There's a little thing coming for you. There's a little thing coming to you. If you're willing to stand, and it's called retribution. I know you've had enough. Are you ready for a little retribution? I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower, saluting you for being here, seeking after truth. I love you all very, very much. I really do. And I just want the best for you. I hope that this will lead you to ask some questions. I hope that this will lead you to question some answers. And I hope that you'll take your place in the last generation of real humans. They don't ask me what that means anymore. Now we know. And I promise you, if we stand, this world will be better than it's ever been, sooner than even we can imagine. Because we're realizing who they are, we're realizing who we are. One of these two groups is going to wake up. Who's going to wake up? The one who wakes up wins. And there's some retribution coming for them. I don't think I'll be live on Sunday. I'll be traveling. But I'll see you again the next time. Thank you, Fast Fred. I appreciate you. Come get you some of this.
Retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution!